I want to bring in former Deputy Chief of Staff to President George W. Bush and Fox News contributor Karl Rove. Karl, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
We now know what Chairman Nunes has shared, but why do you think Mr. Nunes went to the press and the president with this information so quickly? That's what Adam Schiff is complaining about.
Well, first of all, don't get me started on Adam Schiff. He started off in this investigation trying to sound reasonable, but I've had personal experience with the man. When he was on the Judiciary Committee, a lunatic from Alabama popped up alleging that when I was at the White House that I had encouraged her to follow the Alabama governor around in order to discover whether or not he was having an affair with a male staff member, and that I had directed this from the White House. Never met the woman. There was no evidence that any such meetings had ever occurred. And he dragged me in front of the Judiciary Committee in order to ask me about whether or not I was responsible for provoking an investigation that ultimately ended in the Alabama governor being sent to jail for accepting bribes. And he was a complete partisan. So he started off on this thing trying to play like he was working with Nunes and this was going to be a bipartisan, sensible investigation. But underneath the surface, Adam Schiff is a highly partisan Democrat, and he was going to find a moment to criticize Nunes no matter what. I have confidence in Chairman Nunes, and I think it was appropriate for him to do what he did.
Karl, it doesn't fit into his narrative, because now Chairman Nunes says, yes, President Trump, his transition team was being listened to, and so now Adam Schiff doesn't like the storyline.
Well, look, we knew all along that there was incidental coverage of President Trump and President Trump's transition team. But what we didn't know was as follows. One is this doesn't have apparently to do with Russia. These particular reports don't have to do with incidental surveillance, incidental collection of information about Trump team members with Russians. It's somebody else. But more importantly is that the names of Trump transition team members have been apparently unmasked. There are very high standards for unmasking the names of American citizens who are caught up in incidental surveillance of foreign nationals. And apparently those rules were not followed in this instance, and these reports were apparently widely distributed throughout the government. And this is part of what the Obama administration did in its closing days, which was basically spread this information widely and apparently unmask names when there was no, when they did not meet the standards for having revealed the names of the Americans who were caught up in this incidental conduct.
Karl, it's David McDowell. To that point, the Obama administration, just some days before the inauguration, which we've talked about, basically took the cuffs off the NSA and said you can share unfiltered data with the 16 other intelligence agencies, but that means that you put people at risk who were caught up in surveillance, and that also a lot more people are getting their hands on this raw data. Can the Trump administration reverse that?
Well, I suspect it already has. I mean, my suspicion is that this took an action by the outgoing Obama administration to spread this widely, which was not the typical procedure. And immediately after they spread it widely, and we don't know who. We don't know whether it was somebody at the Justice Department, somebody at inside the White House. Look, Admiral Rogers at the NSA is not going to do this on his own. He's not even going to do it if he is directed to do so by the administration. Somebody inside either the Department of Justice or inside the White House made a determination that they were going to spread this information more widely, and somebody, again, I suspect at Justice or at the White House, made a decision that they were going to unmask these names because, look, those procedures at the NSA, those procedures at the CIA, those procedures at the FBI are very detailed and very precise and require a deliberate decision in which somebody says, yes, you have met the standard that allows us to unmask an American name. That doesn't appear to be the case, and so my sense is it's done somewhere by a Obama administration official, either at Justice or at the White House.
Wow. All right, we want to move on to health care, but Steve Rogers, jump in here
Karl,
on this topic.
I believe Congressman Nunes did the right thing, and I believe it boils down to a matter of trust. I mean, how could he trust sharing that information with some of these committee members whose motives may not be pure? So he went right to the press. He went right to the president. There was no way that any more information could be leaked out with probably another narrative. What's your take on that?
Well, look, I've been dubious since the beginning about Schiff. At the beginning, he was behaving. He looked like an adult. But in the last few days, it has become clear that he is who he is, which is an avid partisan. I mean, this stuff about, and I hate to be personal about it, but I mean, I literally spent 2 days in hearings in the Judiciary Committee being grilled by Schiff. And then when I walked out of there, the Democratic committee staff said, you know, the witness that supposedly caused this all to happen is such a lunatic. A, we can't get a hold of her anymore. Her lawyer won't let us talk to her. But the one interview we had with her, she was clearly a completely unreliable witness. Well, I'm sitting there thinking, I just spent 2 days, and God knows how much on a lawyer, so you can trash my good name because you are such a hyper-partisan that you got this lunatic that you won't even be able to, won't even try and bring out and put under oath because you know that what she told you not under oath was completely wrong.
Karl,
so I don't trust the guy.
All right, we'll be watching that.